Okay, good. Yesterday, we're learning this Dvar Malchut, a speech that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave 30 years ago, 31 years ago, 1991. And it's just as relevant now as it was back then. And the Rebbe is talking about the redemption and how we can make the future redemption not in the future, that we can make it right now. And the Rebbe explained to us that it's much, much easier than we think. And what's the trick? The trick is to put the Aleph into Geula, that the world, something like what we just finished learning in Likkutei Torah, the world is basically good. People are basically good. Basically, but it's hidden. It's hidden. How do we bring it out? By bringing in a little bit of light. Light. Just have to shine a light, and then everything becomes improved. What is this light? So the Rebbe said the light is just keeping aware in your mind that there's a creator, and this creator gave the Torah, and the Torah is the creator's instructions for what we should do and say and think and feel in this world. Just like any country has laws, right? You buy a washing machine, you got the instructions, you know what to do. You drive on the street, you have to take driver's lessons to know which side of the street to drive on, you know, when you should stop, who has the right of way. So the world, the creation has laws. You don't have to obey the laws if you don't want to, but you know, it's like you don't have to do what it says in the instructions manual for the washing machine, or you don't have to drive on the right side of on the proper side of the street in you know, your town, in your country, wherever you don't have to. You don't want to, but it's not to your benefit, not to anybody's benefit. And not only that, it makes the confused world. So that's what the Rebbe says. So we have to put the Aleph into of course, when you do the commandments and when you do what God says, you have to keep in mind that you're doing because God says it. You're not doing what God says because of the benefits that you're going to get. Even if you do it, that's also okay, but that's not it's better than nothing, like they say. Better than nothing is not a good way to live. Better than nothing. Better than nothing is like a person's on the verge of death, right? In a deep coma. Better than nothing. He's still alive. Who wants to be in a state like that? So our job then is to put the Aleph into the world. When we do that, what happens? The whole thing becomes transformed. So we have the world is Geula. Geula means exile. Redemption, truth is Geula. Same exact letters. Just you stick an Aleph in there. And the Rebbe says we can see that it's happening. It used to be the Jews lived in countries and they were very opposed and openly against the Jews, especially against Judaism. And now we see that that's all changed. And there's some countries that even help. And it says the Rebbe, especially the country where I came from, the Rebbe came from Russia, right? Especially in Russia. And Russia was very, very against the Jews, very oppressive to the Jews, right? When the Tsar was ruling, it was the church. The church was the enemy number one of the Jews openly. Now it still is, but now they have a different policy now to be nice to the Jews. Now we're going to be nice to them. You catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar, like they say. Now they're nice. It's the biggest enemy of Judaism that there could possibly be. I mean, I don't know. I guess so. In some ways, I guess that Zionism is a bigger enemy because they're trying to redefine what Judaism is. At least the Christians, and they give an option to religious Judaism. They're saying that religious Judaism is, anyway, forget about that. However it goes. And not only that, they invite all these Zionists, they invite all these missionaries into the country. Okay. All the countries except for Israel. Israel is probably the only country where it's openly okay to talk against the Torah and to make fun of the rabbis, openly. All the others, they do it maybe in quiet. In Israel, it's 100%, no problem whatsoever. Okay, but nevertheless, in Russia, we see an amazing thing. This is especially when the Rebbe spoke about this. This is 1991. Gorbachev had just opened up all the gates of Russia, dissolved communism. Anyone could go in, anyone could come out. Says, and not only that, and we see America especially also, not only that are the non-Jews giving help to the Jews, also we see things how the non-Jews themselves, they do kindness with one another that they don't even have to do. And that's one of the main features of Moshiach, that the world will be kind. People will be kind to one another. There'll be love and brotherhood. Tov v'chesed, shemagalim tov yoter, because they reveal that there's a Baal Habayis, the Birazu. They realize that there is God. And this is the preparation, what it says in the future, that God will be the ruler in the true redemption. Lo kafi shoyapam, not like what it was that only the Jewish people, even though that you were the least of all the Jewish people, they did what God wanted, and exactly in the world, namely, va'achdus mamlechius umas ha'olam hitnagu ba'ofen achzari. And all the kingships and the rulers and the governments of the non-Jews were very cruel to the Jews and also one to the other. Vitasku be'ikr, and mainly thinking about themselves or to conquer one country or etc. And a way that's revealed, shetosva be'inyan elu mamish, that now we can see how the world and the non-Jews, they're trying to bring themselves to the future redemption by means of doing charity and education, the two basic foundations of the world, Yeshevet Titzaru. Okay, what happened? Back then, the United Nations was very devoted to making peace in the world. And there was big talks in America and Russia that they were going to do away with all their atomic warfare, to scrap all of their missiles and things like that. And they actually started to do it. What exactly happened in the middle? You have to talk to some sort of political analyst or something, but everything sort of flipped around. I'm not going to give my opinion. I don't really have much of an opinion. But nowadays we see that things have sort of flipped around, even though in regarding to the Jews, not so. The Jews are amazingly in Israel are tremendously safe, even though logically it's the worst place to be for a Jew. We're surrounded by enemies. They shoot missiles at us and they send in all sorts of terrorists. And the Israeli government ties the hand of the army and of the police, and they actually encourage these people to come in and to threaten us. And once in a while they catch a couple of them, right? A couple of them, they catch some guy, some Arab that murders Jews. They keep him in prison for 10, 15 years and they let him go. And God is protecting us. Like I say, 4 years ago, the Hamas, which we put them there, they're living in Israel, and we keep them there. They're in Israel. They're under our control. They haven't got their own country. And they shot 4,500 missiles at us, and we did nothing to them until they kidnapped these 3 boys and they killed them. Then we made nothing against them, but we leave them there. We just tell them not to shoot too many missiles. One missile a month, that's okay. You could shoot, right? Not to go 2 missiles a month. Over 3 missiles a month, then we're going to reprove you. This is not right. To shoot 3 missiles a month, we're going to talk about it in the United Nations, and then you're going to see what the United Nations will do. Get rid of them all. Get rid of all the people that don't want to accept. But they have the Jews in Israel, they have no identity. They don't know who they are. I think it's the only country in the world that doesn't know its own boundaries. They don't really know their own boundaries, right? That is Ashkelon, does that belong to us? Tel Aviv, it belongs to us. Jerusalem belongs to us. Where's the line? Where do you draw the line? Line of 67, the line of 45, 48. What are the line? They don't know, right? Some people say this, some people that. In any case, the Moshiach is going to change all this, and everything will be very clear, and it'll be good for the Arabs also, because it's not good for the Arabs, this Hamas and all these crazy ideas that they have of conquering the world, and Islam is going to take it all over. It's all false. It's all false. Nevertheless, we see in our generation, Shemedina Zu, this country, Russia, Nitzla et Chozek Kocha, the Sayal. No, I'm sorry, America. America is using its power and to save people from faraway places. Rachok Medina Zu, even though that there's absolutely no benefit that comes to America. Israel does it all the time. I mean, Israel is, they're Jews, right? They're kind people. They're God's people. God loves all of them. Even God loves the Zionists. He loves all of them, right? But they just have to come to their senses. Medina Zu, this country, America, sent hundreds of people and even soldiers to help people that were escaping from like earthquakes and things like that. Biyachad in mazon and food and garments and medicine. Instead of using airplanes for conquering, and the place that they used the food, garments for people of America, they use it to save unfortunate people, and especially children, small children, from cold, and save them from death. In this, we see the tremendous mercy of this country of America. Kasher, when they just heard and they just saw that there were people that were suffering, even though I don't remember what exactly thing this was, I think maybe it was the earthquakes in Turkey or someplace, even though that they don't know these people and they never heard about them at all. Nevertheless, they were helping, they sent whatever they could to help them. According to this, what the charity they gave, and they helped people in the whole entire world, except because, and they're not asking anything, and they don't, right? They're not requesting any even help from anything. Even countries that don't want any help, nevertheless, they go and they help them. They don't request it. They figure that no one's going to help them, and America helped them. So we see that it opened up the door for all mankind to be this way. Similarly, we can know that I think a lot of the big problems now in the world is the media. The media turns everybody against everybody else, and darkens the whole world. It picks people and makes them evil, and that these people, they're our problem, and we are not the problem. It's the other people, right? So it's basically, I don't think that you can believe anything that the media says whatsoever. You just have to sort of look from afar and try to judge yourself, which is not that easy. We don't have that much information, and the information that's given to us is false. But nevertheless, in the time when the Rebbe was saying this, it was revealed the essential goodness and kindness that there is in people. It says even more, that now in America, there came, the President of the United States announced regarding education of children. They made in America what's called Education Day. And this is especially that he announced, Sheshifatahu lihizker be education, chinuch, president. Until the president he will be remembered as the education president. I think that this was Reagan. I think he was the one that started, but I have to look it up. In any case, America, they declared there's going to be Education Day, and it's going to be on the Rebbe's birthday, whenever that comes out in the non-Jewish calendar, Yud Aleph Nisan. That day is called Education Day in America. And the idea is to educate the children that there's God. Recently, there's a turnaround. I mean, because I'm giving the class, so I'll throw out my 2 cents. But this is what the Rebbe also said, that right before the future redemption, and Moshiach brings all of the Jewish people to Torah and the commandments, and the whole entire world to worship only the creator of the universe, according to the 7 Noahide commandments. The right before that, all of the bad will be revealed. It'll all come to the surface. All the evil in the world will come to the surface. In other words, it's sort of like the opposite of what it was in the time of the Holy Temple. In the time of the Holy Temple, on the surface, right, everything was really good. We had the temple, there were prophets, there was godliness, everybody knew the whole Torah, but underneath, things were rotten. People were selfish, people were there was idolatry, there was hatred, etc. God sent all the prophets to warn everybody. Nobody took any message. God had to destroy the temple. At 2,000 years later, now I think the situation is exactly the opposite. On the surface, things are terrible. Things are coming out now that nobody would dream. Types of decadence and perversions are being taught to the children in schools. Taught to the children, non-Jewish children, but they're taught to the children in schools. There's never been such a thing. Crime is on the rise, and crime is considered to be good. It's just an expression of the subjugation of the lower classes and things like that. Like communism was, the lower classes have to rise up, and anything they do is okay. You can kill millions of people. Crime is on the rise, and decadence is on the rise, and correspondingly also confusion and depression, and taking pills against depression. It's all on the rise. Suicide, right? And now they made up these crazy, these diseases, and then you have to put on masks, and you have to take shots, and you have to this, and things. The world is being ruled, is revealing all the bad in the world is coming to the surface. But underneath, people are starting to really call out to the creator of the universe. The creator, right? We see, there's levels of insanity going on. In Israel, they actually encourage the missionaries. They can do whatever they want to here. It's pure idolatry. It's pure evil. It's pure evil, right? Saying that anyone doesn't believe exactly like them is going to burn in hell, and everyone's burning hell, and going to hell, but hell, this and your hell, and hatred and hating. It's insane. And the Israeli government encourages it. So all the bad is floating up to the surface. But underneath, and I believe with a complete heart, that underneath, it's a totally different situation. People are really genuinely seeking the truth, and that underneath, inside of themselves, they realize there's something really must have been wrong all the time if such things are popping up now. If somehow or other America could produce such destructive, twisted evil, I don't know a better word to say it, then it must have been something wrong with America all the time. And I think that the answer to this is Professor Viktor Frankl. I'm a very big fan of his. And he says the problem is that America is based on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness is a big mistake, because pursuit of happiness means that happiness is a goal. Feeling good is a goal. And this is a lie. Feeling good is not a goal. Happiness cannot be pursued. It has to ensue. It ensues from doing meaningful, valuable things, which sometimes require suffering and how do you say, sacrifices. To do something meaningful, that's what really makes happiness. To have a family, to see your children grow up. Right? It means that sometimes a person has to forego his lower desires, and he has to forego his desire to, just be free and have no responsibility and sit around and drink beer all day. You have to go and get a job. You have to support your family. And sometimes the kids don't act the way you want, and your wife doesn't act the way you want, and there's problems. But that brings true happiness. You cannot pursue happiness. Happiness has to come from something meaningful. And that's what Moshiach is going to do, to make the world a meaningful place. And that's what the Rebbe said. We see, in the time of the Rebbe, we see that down deep, this is there. Maybe now it's covered over. Could be. But down deep, it's there. People want to do good to others. And so even by the Jews, this is not a new thing. So by the Jews, always they did according to Torah and commandments and kindness and education. But this reveals even more that in America, this country, that they've decided, they made what's called Education Day. There's a lot of, the Rebbe wanted to make that there would be a moment of prayer every moment. And then there were Jews that went against it. They went against it. So he said, let's have a moment of silence every day. And there were Jews that went against that also. In any case, there are certain states in America that still, the school system, they do have a moment of silence. Okay, this is the true foundation for charity and education. Namely, that there's a balabayit, that there's an owner, there's a king of the universe. Like we mentioned many times, that the true success in education depends on recognizing, the child has to recognize that this world is not our world. It belongs to the Creator. It's God's world. And we should do things according to what He wants. And then when we do what He wants, then things will be happy. That's pursuing meaning. All this is, in addition to the many things which are called, which every day we can see the divine intervention and the divine direction of God every day. But regarding to in general, this is relevant to each and every person, every detail in our life. Kavanah said the intention of this is the Education Day, that this should reveal even more how it is that the world is helping to make God a dwelling in this physical world and bring the future redemption. This includes also in the last weeks, we see that some corner of the world said that they found precious stones. And by means of the blessing of God, etc. I think that in South Africa, I don't remember where this was. The intention of this is that we should use this in the precious stones in order to decorate the bride and give charity and etc. The conclusion. What's the conclusion from all this? Is the Geula, the redemption. It will come by means of our service now in exile. We have to work in exile. Without the exile, there can't be this future redemption, because we have to make the world into a godly place. We have to reveal the Alufo Shalom, the king of the world, in the Geula. Put the Aleph, the Alufo Shalom, into Geula and make Geula. So this generation, the last generation of exile, will be the first generation of the redemption. And God will help that we should see, and in the past, these recent things that happen in the world, how it is that the world is helping and bringing to the redemption. Simply speaking, explanation is that every single Jew has to add in good deeds and serving God in general, which bring to the future redemption, especially, like we spoke many times, learning the Torah in matters of redemption, learning the written Torah, learning the oral Torah, Mishnah, Gemara, Midrashim, and especially we have to learn from Pesach Sheni. Soon, next month, it's going to be the 15th of next month, is what's called Second Passover. Second Passover is a person that missed the first Passover in the time that the Passover was very, very essential to Judaism. It was the birthday of Judaism, Passover. And they brought the Pesach offering, which was a very, very essential, very special offering, more severe in many ways than any of the other offerings. A person that purposely didn't bring it, that says that it was punishable by death. Anyway, that there is no, what is the message? Nothing is ever lost. It's never too late. Never too late to do good. The good can never be lost. A person has to make a proper accounting if he has fixed up what he is supposed to do in the world. Have you said enough good things? Have you done enough good deeds? Have you thought enough good thoughts? If not, then you can always add on and fix what the past and add to the future. And this we have a teaching and also a the giving of power. They say we're empowered that even if something was missing in your service of God, nevertheless, it's never too late. Even if you never did anything for God, you did bad things your whole life, God forbid, it's never too late to start to do good. And even more, that will be revealed and fixed up everything that seems to be lost, or things that really have been lost in the exile, including a good type of losing. What does it mean, good type of losing? Something that's above our understanding. It's lost. We don't know where it is. Right? When is the Moshiach? The revelation of when is going to come the future redemption. It's hidden from us. It says that the heart cannot reveal to the mouth. Mashiach Tzidkenu will come with what's called Hesach Hadas. He'll come totally unexpectedly. Right? The revelations that'll be is something that we never expected. Like it says, Matzati David Avdi. It says, I have found King David. All this will reveal in the Mizmor, in the Psalm 90. It was the Rebbe's 90th year old. This was said when the third temple was built, that Moses and Aaron, they said, may the pleasantness of God be on us and the work of our hands be established, and the worst and the deeds of our hands will be firm. This will be in the third temple, in the true redemption, when all the Jewish people are redeemed, our children, our elders, our sons, our daughters, when all the Jewish people will all wake up and come to the Holy Land to see the third temple and to serve God the way that God wants the Jewish people to do from the time He gave the Torah. God bless you all. Let's just learn the Yom Yom for today. We finished this. Tomorrow there will also be a class. There'll also be a class. There'll all be a class today at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock today we'll learn the Haftorah. The permissible, if you do things that are permissible, eating permissible food, kosher food, putting clothes on, if you do it for your own pleasure, that can be totally evil. Like the rabbis say, because we say you have to make yourself holy, which what is permissible to you. That's this week's Torah portion. Remember, we learned the Ramban. You have to be, that's the difference between the Jews and the non-Jews, is the Jews make everything holy, even how they brush their teeth, how they deal with their day-to-day life. One must introduce sanctity into those matters which are optional, permissible, so that they serve the purpose of enhancing one's Torah mitzvahs, fear of God, and good character traits. Have a good day with Moshiach. Now, thank you for coming. And God willing, at 3 o'clock, there will be another class. And tomorrow, there'll also be a class at 8:15 in the morning. Yom Tov.